Hey there, so what makes a good fandom? I mean, that is a question for the ages. If you're one of those people out there that says, well, Eddie Brock plus the symbiote sitting in a tree doing God knows what while tumbling, that makes a great one. Well, then this list, it's probably reflective of your mindset. I don't know a lot of people that think like this either, and I don't know a lot of people that utilize the Daily Dot for a source. I mean, when you go into what exactly they say, they try to weaponize all types of ideas to prove that there are wrong thinkers within the buying crowd. You know, you got to flush them out, no matter what the cost. It's very interesting to see media approach this way too, and even more so when it comes to industry listening, thinking that this somehow is reflective of everyone out there. I mean, you see it in the numbers. You see exactly how these places are hit time and again, but that kind of stuff, that doesn't matter. What matters is the spin. So today I want to go through this top fandom list of 2018, and I want to bring you their reasoning for it, because it's not about the fandoms, it's about the spin on said fandoms. Now, the first fandom that they talk about is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they don't put a lot into it when they're discussing it here. Instead, they mention the Infinity Wars and Black Panther, but what's really interesting is all of the coverage that's come before when they talk about said movies, because they don't really seem to care about what's in the movies. What they care about is how they can go out and they can talk about identity within movies or sales ploy within movies, because you know, Disney, they really care. Marvel really cares. I mean, you have these monoliths out there that have found a sales ploy, and they found a way to approach people like this, and well, if you buy in, you're the greatest fandom on earth. You know, you're the greatest people out there. And of course, if you challenge other people that say something about that, well, you're the greatest fandom too. Now, then they go to Star Wars, and look at the way that this is lined up here. You know, they talk about it being an interesting year, mostly because it's overrun with boiling angry fans. There was the divide and the debate over The Last Jedi, and it became even uglier as online harassment led Kelly Marie Tran to delete her Instagram posts while fans launched a campaign to remake The Last Jedi. Then they talk about Solo, the Star Wars story, and how it underperformed and then some. I mean, underperformance, yeah, that's a good way to spin that. But still, apparently, this fandom, apparently that somehow makes the fandom great. Why? Not really sure why. Don't really understand why, because they don't give you a reason for that. They give you negatives and maybe some upcoming things that might actually be bright spots. But as far as fandom is concerned, not really sure why in there. Then they go into the Fantastic Beasts anti-fandom. And I find this one to be fascinating. I've been going through this time and again, talking about some of the stuff within that, but just listen to some of it. At this point, Harry Potter fandom is too big to fail, an idea that J.K. Rowling is putting to the test by releasing increasingly bad and unpopular spin-off content. This year's Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, did fine at the box office, but received poor reviews, along with an outpouring of detailed criticism from its target audience of Potter fans. The film faced backlash for putting Johnny Depp in the central role, followed by criticism of the story's numerous unnecessary twists, racist subtext, muddled political themes, and continued avoidance of Dumbledore's sexuality. So those are the positives there. You know, basically, Harry Potter fandom is full of smart young adults with opinions about politics and storytelling, and therefore, that makes them the greatest. I mean, again, look at the reasoning behind that. And it's amazing when you talk about these pieces in here. You know, putting Johnny Depp in the central role, for example, because, hey, the character out there was abused. And Johnny Depp, he was accused of abuse. Also, if you want to add on with the Mary Sue, they said his career, it's kind of languished. And you know, if that would have been a female, well, it would have already been over. Therefore, I mean, that kind of stuff there. Racist subtext, they're talking about the Nagini and actually turning the Nagini into a quote-unquote person of color, because the Nagini was an object. The Nagini was milked by a white man. So how dare you? Isn't that good stuff there? The next one, of course, is Fortnite. And if you go through Fortnite, if you look at this, you know, you can see what they throw in here. People also love watching Fortnite, with Ninja emerging as one of the most popular Fortnite streamers, although he's come under fire several times this year for using a racial slur and refusing to play with female gamers. Now again, I find it interesting because this is supposed to be about top fandoms. It's supposed to be kind of a positive spin, I suppose, and yet that's not. Then we get into Voltron. Voltron's legendary defender. And I mean, look at what's thrown into here. Voltron is one of those massively popular fandoms where fandom outsiders are like, wait, what? This Netflix children's animated series had another banner year, topping Tumblr's fandom chart and making headlines by revealing that one of the lead characters is gay. So apparently going out and topping Tumblr's fandom charts, that's the number one thing. And then number two is going out and adding an identity to an already established character. It's amazing. You know, I hear people talk about how some of these characters, it's basically shoehorned in. And I've not checked out Voltron Legendary Defender, so I've not seen whether this is pro or con. But I do know with things like Iceman, for example, within comic books, something that read like a homophobic stereotype was shoehorned in. People were applauding, you know, because every time virtue is added, everyone's got to get the clap online. You know, it's just like some kind of ESTD out there. But, you know, what do I know about that? I just read that kind of thing. And again, maybe this was done better. But then it goes into talking about Voltron's fandom is infamous for its ship wars and internal drama, you know, because that also makes things good. I mean, when you're talking about two characters out there, why not throw them together sexually? Because that's going to make things better. BTS. Now, I don't know a lot about BTS within that, so I'm actually going to skip over this because I don't know, nor do I feel like I really care there. We get to Venom afterwards. Now, Venom, yeah, Venom is it's really interesting what you see coming up with what's going on with Venom. I mean, if you look at the last portions of this, if you're still puzzled about why so many people ship the human Eddie Brock with the murderous symbiotic alien who inhabits his body, we've got you covered with this examination of the comic's romantic and erotic subtext. That's right. The reason that they enjoyed that fandom is because basically they want these two things to have a relationship. In fact, they go well out of their way to tell you exactly why they should have said relationship. And man, it is definitely interesting. Then they go into She-Ra. She-Ra added on to this. And I've talked about the She-Ra reimagining, but look at the way that they talk about this in here. It reimagines and rejuvenates the origin story. It introduces us to fleshed out characters of all shapes and sizes with update redesigns and incredibly catchy theme songs. You know, sure, there may be some who've complained about the characters not being sexy enough, but the originals, but those detractors seem to be in the minority. I mean, yeah, when you go out and you look this up and you notice that there's basically been bot reviewing to make sure that this thing gets to the top of the charts. And right now, you're talking about a Rotten Tomatoes, 21 critical reviews at 100. Even a 3 out of 5 is certified fresh these days, just a note. Wouldn't be with other stuff, but yeah, this is certified fresh. Why? Because of all the stuff there and on. So continuing here to catch the rest of that. Fans have largely embraced the show for LGBTQ representation and its nuanced relationships, and She-Ra fan art quickly took over Twitter and Tumblr, you know, because that says that you have a great fandom out there, because Tumblr art went into it. And man, I tell you, don't look up the Twitter and Tumblr art. Although I guess since the changes rules came up, maybe it'll be a little bit more tame. But I know, you know, in the past, Tumblr art, yeah, it's not been the best thing to go to. The SpiderMan fandom that's listed within here, you know, the SpiderMan stuff, I'm actually going to skip over because they talk about the video game and they talk about Into the SpiderVerse, which as far as elements there, I've not actually checked out. I did find it interesting that the guy that directs it is also a staunch Antifa supporter. You know, he believes that we should definitely talk about representation and while we're at it, we should hit people in the head with bike locks if we disagree with them. Kind of amazing. amazing, huh? Then we have Overwatch. Now, Overwatch, of course, if you've kept up with all of the crazy stuff that's gone on with it, yeah. But, of course, again, Tumblr's year-end rankings. So we're going to go over the Tumblr year-end rankings because, again, that makes it the best fandom out there. Tumblr rated Overwatch as #1 on its list of popular games. Wow, that makes me want to just jump out there and pick it up for sure. So there was another listing, but you get the point here. Top fandom. The way it's decided here, according to these folks, is having Tumblr art. Having people that go out and pick it up on Twitter. Not only that, but when you pick it up there, well, it's got to be full of drama. It's got to be full of shipping. It has to be something where you can point your finger at those wrong thinkers and tell them, get out. Make sure that you get out. You know, that kind of stuff impacts sales too. But that, it doesn't matter. In this day and age, it doesn't matter. What matters in having a top fandom, apparently, is flushing the wrong thinker. Getting out people that would disagree, even though, of course, the people that make it a top fandom, apparently, those folks are always malcontents. But anyhow, tell me exactly what you think about this. Also, if you like this kind of content, make sure that you support the channel. Sub and like easily enough there. If you want to go further than that, there are links within the description. I definitely appreciate that. Try to bring new content daily. Make sure that you leave comments because I like checking out exactly what people think about stuff. You know, sometimes maybe I'm approaching something wrong and I like to see exactly what people have to say about that. But anyhow, thank you for showing up. I definitely appreciate that. And till tomorrow, thanks.